We only have one topic because you're such a baseball head now that I expect you to hold a conversation on every MLB team and not just Freddie. Yeah. Freddie going to do Freddie.
Freddie going to do Freddie. Manor's going to suck.
That actually is a pretty lock of the week take from you. I mean, you could put money on that take.
I feel like I could.
Freddie going
take
Freddie.
Me to Vegas.
Mariners going suck. Take it to the bank. I actually don't disagree with you.
Yeah.
We should just end the show.
Yeah,
there.
that's it.
There's
that's
no
all the time we got, folks.
There's no
Sorry.
discussion to be had. Goodness. Welcome to the house. I'm Isaac Smolden. I'm joined as always by Brian Fields. If you need homeless or at-risk youth services or residential treatment, 18 to 25, take it to my house, 300 North Willow Street, downtown Wasilla. Brian, we're talking baseball today.
Baseball, baby.
Baseball.
I should grab my Dodgers hat.
Whoops. Yeah. Big Dodgers fan.
Big Dodgers guy. I bleed blue.
This is your first full season of baseball.
Yeah, I'm excited for it too. The playoffs last year really just like got me. It got me going, dude. I was like, I have never in my life got excited for baseball, and I was up out of my chair.
Baseball.
My wife was like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "When did you start watching?" She was so mad and disgusted. Like, when did you start watching baseball?
I put on basketball the other day, and I was like, "Why do you have basketball on?"
Yeah,
I don't want to watch basketball. I was like, "Well, you know, like I've been watching some basketball." She's, "Why?"
Same thing, dude. Same thing.
Yeah. But baseball, we'll see how you hold up this year, because baseball fandom is a marathon, and I don't handle it well because I am used to watching a lot of football.
I'm used to basketball season.
And I'm used to hockey. You kind of live or die by week to week. Baseball, it's like, okay, how was our month? Like, yeah, we lost 5 games in a row, but look, we were 16-8 during that month. That's a fantastic month. Who cares if we lost 5 in a row that one random week? I mean, you gotta breathe. You gotta stay calm.
Yeah.
You gotta not think about how the Mariners are just gonna lose games in series that they should win. It's really tough. It's really tough. It's probably easier to be a Dodgers fan, to be honest with you, because you win a lot more games.
I would imagine so. And I think there's a lot, too, being a basketball fan, having experience with such a long season where it's like I said, with basketball, like the season doesn't even really count until All-Star break.
Right. Well, you're going April to September, which is a little bit longer than basketball season. The difference is in baseball, there's games basically every single day. I mean, your team's on every single day. So you gotta pick and choose how much you're paying attention week to week. And when your team is struggling, sometimes it's best to just not watch for a little bit. Has been my experience, but maybe that's just a Mariners thing and not a baseball thing.
I think it's a Mariners thing.
Might be a Mariners thing. So, in the American League,
America,
we've got some interesting storylines. Looking at the East, the Toronto Blue Jays, tire fire. Their president and GM have not been able to come to a deal with Vladimir Guerrero Jr., one of the bigger names in baseball. And as such, it's looking like this could be his last season. And the Blue Jays have spent a lot of money and not had a lot of success in recent years.
Do you think they'll get a salary cap this year?
Yeah, your team, Mr. Bleed Blue,
is
probably going to be the reason that we get one.
Yeah.
So thanks for that.
I think it's good for the team. You should be happy as a Mariners fan.
Well, no. You see, Brian.
Uh-oh.
See, I'm really trying to focus on baseball.
Let's talk about the Mets. I'm really concerned about the Mets.
The Mets, baby, the Mets.
Yeah.
Well, now you see, but I'll forgive you because you are just a baseball baby. But we were in the American League. We're in the American League right now, and the Mets are on the other side. So, so the Blue Jays, watch for them to be a potential tire fire. They might be a big source of drama in the American League East.
They're literally named the Blue Jays, and they're from Toronto. Yes. Maybe they come out with a chip on their shoulder, like, we're gonna steal your energy and your hearts.
Maybe. The Yankees went all the way to a World Series, choked. The Dodgers are really good. I don't know if it's so much of it's not a choke that they lost. The way that they lost was Galiba, rip the heart out, look at it, incineration down in the pits of despair.
Yeah, they beat themselves.
Yeah. So this is a big season for them. It's either you're running it back and you're going to learn from your mistakes and not beat yourselves in the playoffs, or kaboom, implosion. I don't really think there's any in between. The Orioles also, a team that's made the playoffs a lot, has this young, super heavy offense team, hasn't been able to do anything with it. The Orioles.
We should do a segment where we just
rate. We've done that off the air. I'll write it down. Rate names. There you go. That'll be a house divided segment where we just debate whether names are good or not. So looking at the Central, the Tigers were a super fun story last year. I hope that they take a step forward in a Central division that I'm not sure. It was kind of it was better last year. In the past 5 years, there's been one team coming out of there. The White Sox,
still
after a historically bad year,
still gonna suck.
Yeah,
dude. God, they're bad. And I don't even watch baseball. And I watched a game of theirs, and I was like, "Why am I watching this?"
The West is by far okay. You know what? Can we just go into put the music on? Let's go into the Mariners family circus really quick.
Oh man!
So. This week, I've pulled a quote from Seattle Sports. The Mariners' infield defense is a question mark. Jorge Polanco is penciled in at third base. So glad we re-signed him instead of any other free agent option. Great job, guys. You're doing the Lord's work. A position he hasn't played much in his career, and he's coming off-season knee surgery. Well, I'm sure he'll bounce back and be fantastic. And isn't considered a great defender in the first place. Yeah, could have told you that. Watched him for a whole season last year. You guys did too. Don't know why you re-signed him. J.P. Crawford doesn't play shortstop as well as he did when he won a Gold Glove in 2020. That's an understatement. And Ryan Bliss isn't known for his defensive ability. Well, good. Good thing we don't have any gaps on the defense there. Basically, the second base situation is unsettled because the infield defense could be unsettling. Unsettling's a word for it. The Mariners...
What if they make a big trade or something?
...have to make the playoffs. They have the best starting 5 pitching rotation in Major League Baseball coming into the regular season. You cannot allow your anemic offense to ruin another prime season from some of the best young starters in baseball.
Your minute is over.
The Astros are going to be good again. The Rangers look like they're going to be a contender again.
Hurt to say.
Oh, it just makes me so angry because last season they were bad for so long and they still won the West because the Mariners choked. The Athletics on MLB on ESPN
burn them down.
There's not even a city name. It's just Athletics.
Mm-hmm.
Athletics.
Where are they going?
They're in Sacramento. They're supposed to go to Las Vegas.
They're not allowed. Stay away.
Athletics. We'll see how Athletics do this year. Moving on to the National League. The Mets made some big free agency signings. I wonder what that's like.
What's that, like R2-D2?
I don't know.
And like a mix of Darth Vader.
You think the Mets are maybe juggernauts?
Yeah, I mean,
a lot of people agree with you.
I think they had a really good season last year, and all they did is get better, and they're gonna have a chip on their shoulder.
100%.
They've proved to themselves that they can compete with some of the best teams in the league. And so, like, out of everybody, like, they would be who I'd be concerned about the most. I think, you're gonna have your top teams, but I mean, them and the Padres, I'm worried about.
Padres, I mean, one of these days they're going to get real sick of playing little brother, and I know that Ozzy's very broken up about last season's San Diego Padres. But
okay, Ozzy.
Yeah.
But Freddie gonna Freddie, Ozzy.
Yeah, Freddie unfortunately had to Freddie on the Padres.
Yeah.
What's interesting about the National League to me is I'm not sure. You got the Mets, you got the Dodgers. I think going into this season, and it's a long season, a lot's going to change throughout, but it's hard for me to look at any of these other names and go, oh, that team is a contender. Oh, that team has a real shot at winning the National League. There's teams that have the potential to, but, if it was like you get two teams or gun to the earth, you get two teams, one of them has to win the National League, you take the Mets, you take the Dodgers. It's about the safest bet I think you could make at this point in time. In the American League, there's a lot of room for a lot of teams to come out of there. The Astros are always have a chance. The Orioles, I think, have a really good chance. The Yankees have a really good chance. The Tigers might take some steps in the right direction. The Mariners should be laughable, but the Rangers are a team in the West that has a chance. The National League seems to be very, very top heavy, and it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah.
But really quick before we leave baseball, Shohei looking like he might start again as a DH, and you're not in love with that.
No.
But I think that you won a championship with him under contract as a DH, so don't worry about it too
much.
But
I want to see
everyone wants to see it. I'm not saying I don't want to see him go in and be
how much cooler would it be?
It would be pretty cool, yeah.
Yeah.
But why risk it, dude? Why are you in such a hurry to rush him back?
If we go through the whole season and I don't see it, then just don't play him. The season is long enough that you could rest Shohei and get him back because you're running a risk.
I was going to disagree with you, but the Dodgers are so deep and so good that you're probably right.
Yeah, that's right. I am right.
Okay. I don't have to take that from you.
He busted up his shoulder being a DH. And so, are you just prolonging it because what? Because you want to sell tickets? That's what the move is. It doesn't have anything to do with them wanting to win games or wanting him to be out there or something for his development. They want to sell tickets.
Well, Shohei Ohtani gives you a pretty good chance to win games.
And that's stupid. I want to sell tickets, so we're gonna do it this way.
All right, let's move into a house divided. This is one that you brought up a couple of weeks ago, and I actually have some strong feelings about this.
Because you're a weirdo with an old soul.
I do have an old soul. I'll agree on that.
He takes that as a compliment.
So a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about playing in a dome versus playing in the outside. What should teams be doing? Should we move to an all-dome league? And you apparently hate fun. You hate old school football
about watching bad football or bad sports in general.
And you say
it doesn't even just have to be
you
football.
say that every team
does MLB even play when it's pouring down rain?
No.
You want to know why? Because it's stupid.
You in your utopian society say that every football team should have a dome, and I don't think so. So give me your pro. Everyone should have a dome take.
Better play. End of story. What you've had one or two amazing, cool, it was the snow game and LaShawn McCoy went off for 100 and some yards. Cool, dude. But how many times do we watch these games and it's just blah, 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 blah. Offense can't get going. Defense really isn't doing anything to make them not get going. They just can't adjust to the weather, right? And so it's just this stalemate until somebody gets lucky.
Okay, so let me tell you what you sound like right now. Hi, I'm Bryan, and I hate people having to overcome adversity. Hi, I'm Bryan, and coddle me.
Forget how heavy this ring is.
Did you just concuss yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Bryan, and I want everyone to be coddled because it sucks when it's a little snowy outside. Listen, dude. Bryan, I get that it's tough to play football when it's snowing. I get that it's tough when it's windy out. Oh, it's hard for me to kick the ball through the field goal uprights. Be better. Overcome the challenge. If I'm Buffalo, I want people to come up and it be dumping snow.
You suck
I'm
too.
gonna go in.
You suck too.
I'm gonna go into the snow like a assassin.
Your
like
own
a Finnish
players
assassin,
don't want to do it.
and I'm gonna. You know what? That's on
do
them.
Do you remember what
have a winning
Josh
mentality
Allen said about the new stadium?
And I'm gonna say he's wrong. You think the Dolphins suck because they can't adjust to having to play football in adverse conditions. If I'm a team that plays outside, don't give me the dome ever, dude. Because guess what? I'm stronger than you.
Dude.
I'm tougher than you. I am
Because
mentally,
I play outside?
I am mentally better than you,
God.
and I'm going to grind your bones into
Ozzy,
dust to
help me.
make my bread, and I'm going to stuff a snowball down your throat while I'm running
This
by you because
notion-
I know how to deal with challenging circumstances.
This notion that somehow that you're like more of a man because you can play outside is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Listen, it's not about
Because
it's not
no
about
matter-
that toxic
I can
masculinity
play
idea.
that's what you just pitched.
But
Anybody
yes.
can play outside, but no matter what, your skills are going to be hindered. Period. I watch sports to watch freak athletes do freakish things.
But I think
and in
it
a
is
snow or rain or whatever game, you don't get to see
but
that.
that to me is a freak athlete doing a freak thing. When I see Saquon rumble for a 70-yard TD when it's dumping snow,
Because
that to
the
me is awesome.
The running is dumb to me because the defenders are just slipping and sliding everywhere. It's not like he's not going against a real defense.
But it's the same as when I
So
see a
it's not
defender
the
make a
same-
great play in the snow.
You're
I
not-
want to see you have to deal with something that none of us can control. No one can control the weather. You have to make the same level of plays in conditions that no one should be able to even be driving around in, let alone playing a football game in. And to me, that is a freak athlete making a freak plays when you're able to succeed in those elements.
About? The defense is at a severe disadvantage. There's no freak athlete thing about it. That's more scheme and just opportunity than it has anything to do with the individual athlete.
I think that there is a skill set to the coaching staff, the players having to adjust. You heard Peyton Manning talk about them like coating the balls and, doing like wet ball snaps and stuff. And
they played in a dome.
And then in the Super Bowl, it was raining. And guess what? They didn't have a single fumble off the snap or something like that. Because they practiced, because they said, hey, we're going to put in the extra. I love that. We're going to put in the extra work to succeed no matter what the conditions throw at us. I love that. Be mentally tough. Use it as an advantage. But if you're Bryan, let's just put everyone in a little inside thing, and then they can throw the ball, and the turf's all perfect. And nah, man. Be better.
You could be better.
Improvise.
Without the
adapt.
weather.
Overcome.
Oh my God.
Put it in the comment. Put your take in the comments. Because I'm curious to see. I'm sure there's a bunch of old uncles that agree with me.
There guarantee you there is. But like it just doesn't make for good games, like period. And then it's just like whoever makes the least amount of mistakes.
Hey, I like that.
That's stupid. That's not have anything to do with skill.
Weather's the great equalizer.
I want to know who's better. Where there is you don't have an advantage. I don't have an advantage. We're going toe to toe. Here we go.
I love.
Why do you think that the Super Bowl is never outside?
I love.
No, don't skip that question. Why is the Super Bowl never outside?
Because Roger Goodell's a coward.
Oh my God. End this episode, dude. End this episode. I can't.
Even when we're rooting against each other,
I don't want to be anywhere near you. I don't want to be bring together.
They gotta bring us together, Bryan.
Not unless it's a dome.
See you next time on To the House.